And welcome back to Weedsport, New York. The Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge and Army, they are standing on the rooftops here.
Well, once a year we come into New York State and these people really turn out to see the best in monster trucks.
Talking about the best, there he is, your defending Renegades national champion, Rod Litzow, USA 1. He is about to make his bye run. He had the quick qualifying time tonight, so he races against nobody. Then we've got Clydesdale. Bennett Clark up against a Jersey Outlaw with a new driver tonight. More about that in a minute.
We understand Bob Bream will be driving that truck. Bigfoot's going to be paired up against the Gravedigger. Everybody wants to see what the Digger can do in New York.
Carolina Crusher, your points leader. Gary Porter takes on Buffalo Trimmer and John Kwasniewski.
And the Mad Dog of John Bream Chevrolet goes against the Ford. No problem with John Moore out of the Tennessee area.
Then it's Awesome Kong with Steve Kane against Super Dave Wysork and the Nightlife Chevy. That's the way they're going to match up as Rod Litzow completes his bye run. The crowd sitting with, what we would say, quiet anticipation right now for another great event.
Well, you know, Litzow has a chance to do something no one's ever done before tonight and win 4 in a row, Richard.
And here we go. Bob Breen, as you said, normally the driver of Wild here, filling in for the injured Mike Wine. Mike, there you see his hand wrapped up. Last weekend races against no problem. He injured his fingers. He's not running that truck. Bob Breen behind the wheel. And who says monster truck racing isn't dangerous?
Kind of interesting the way he injured his fingers. What happened, the steering wheel spun on him when the truck landed and bent 2 of his fingers all the way back to his knuckle, completely dislocating him. So he asked Bream to do the driving chores for him. Bream can handle the truck good. He goes up against the Clydesdale of Bennett Clark. So this is definitely going to be a toss-up.
Pretty good race.
Hey, good race. Bennett Clark trying to flex a little bit of muscle in the far lane. The long wheelbase Clydesdale goes to the next round. But a real good run for a new driver-truck combination. Bream did a great job with the Outlaw.
But it is Bennett Clark that gets the win to move to the quarterfinals.
Bennett a first-round win, but that's going to put you against USA 1 right off the bat tonight.
Well, I guess he's, a while ago when I heard him running, it looked like he was loading up pretty heavy. I think I'll have a chance to take him tonight.
Who's your passenger that's been riding with you?
This is my super chicken. He's been giving me a good look, so I've been riding with him.
Whatever it takes to win, ladies and gentlemen, like any other kind of motorsport.
I like the sneaky little smile on Bennett Clark. And you know, Army, I understand. He even takes that chicken with him out to dinner at night.
Yeah, but they don't eat at very expensive places, I don't believe, Richard.
That's Mike Wine, the driver of Jersey Outlaw, going back to the pit area. But this is Andy Brass, the driver of Bigfoot, and he is ready to do war with Gravedigger. Dennis Anderson out of Chesapeake, Virginia. Dennis will not win the national championship this year. He's out of that points race, but he always puts on a wild and woolly show.
Well, Richard, I've always said this guy's got somebody in his family that was a kamikaze pilot. Believe me, you're going to see why. If he's going to lay down a run, it will be a good run. I've never seen Anderson make an easy run. For bragging rights, Bigfoot and the Gravedigger. The Gravedigger, probably one of the most popular trucks on the tour right now. Everywhere he goes, people want to watch him fly, and they're not disappointed tonight in Weedsport. Look at this. Anderson pulls the trigger and literally explodes the engine on the run.
Dennis Anderson, the Gravedigger, as we see the replay, high flying over the first set of junk cars, smoking out of the rear of that Gravedigger, but at the finish line, it's the win over the Bigfoot. But Army, I understand that there could be problems once again on the Gravedigger machine. I know you're down there as they're backing him up. It looks like pieces of the Gravedigger, yes, being picked up by the crew chief there, Dale Benson.
Well, that's a tough break. A good run, but like we say, Rod, that's just the way he runs. He will not go easy. When he comes off the starting line, you're going to see a run.
And let's go trackside. Army's got both our drivers from this race.
You took the win, Dennis Anderson, but it cost you a whole lot.
Yeah, it did. We still got a rear drive shaft problem. That's what I've done, is just threw the back drive shaft out of it.
Can you get back? Do you have another drive shaft in the pit area that you can get back in this competition?
Yeah, I have a spare drive shaft, but I busted the yoke on the pinion shaft, so we can't fix it in time to come back.
Okay, so that's going to bring you back into this thing, Andy, and you were right there with him. I believe you'd be coming back anyway because they're bringing back 2 quick losers. An awfully good race. They just keep getting closer, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Like you say, you don't get much better than this. Dennis, one of the better running trucks out here on the circuit.
And breaking a yoke is no joke, is it, Army?
No, not at all in this sport, especially when they're on tour like this, and every run is important because of points.
All right, now we've got Carolina Crusher, Gary Porter, your current national points leader on the Renegade circuit, against John Kwasniewski, the Buffalo Trimmer. We've got a couple of Chevrolets side by side.
Your current national point leader sits close to the camera, the Carolina Crusher, Gary Porter. Now, he's been awfully quiet on this New York tour, but he just keeps inching through round after round after round, doing what he has to do. Johnny K in the far lane making horsepower. They're not able to put the win under his belt. That's exactly what the Crusher has to do, Richard. One race at a time, add more points.
So Gary Porter, Carolina Crusher, goes to the quarterfinals. Buffalo Trimmer, John Kwasniewski, he goes home. And we've got the return of the Ford Chevrolet battle straight ahead on Power Tracks and ESPN. We are back in Weedsport, New York for the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge event. And Army coming up next, it's a Chevrolet against a Ford. And already tonight, we have seen a track almost too tough to tame.
Richard, that's exactly the case. As John Bream will be coming out, one of the veteran drivers out of Missouri. He goes up against Moore, another veteran driver out of Tennessee. The problem is they can't get a handle on the track. It's throwing the trucks not in a constant direction. It can bounce you left, it can bounce you right. You just don't know. When you hit that last jump, you're at the mercy of gravity and inertia as to where you're going to land.
But, of course, John Moore, if we ask him that question, he might say, nah, no problem. But then that's the name of his truck.
Right now, he's got a bunch of problems sitting on his left hip. It's a form of a Chevrolet called Mad Dog.
Good
Moore's
race.
on the right. Yeah, good run. Oh, a little bit out of shape for Mad Dog. Moore's trying to come back. I believe he took the win. But, man, both of those drivers were working for a living on that run.
Well, you're absolutely right. No problem. And Jammin' John Moore gets the win on a very, very tough racetrack.
The track's gone away. The track is just flat gone away. The downhill lane out there is really tearing it up. Everybody that's run over there is driving downhill. It's real tough to come back on it.
What about the starting line? You seem to be leaving the starting line, boy, like a rocket. You're getting out about the first 15 or 20 feet quicker than anybody. How are you doing it?
Good transmission. Transmission's working good.
Truck's looking good. No heat problems or anything. You ready for the next round?
We're ready to go. No problem.
Yeah, I might have had a good driver there. John Moore advances. And here's another good driver, Dave Lysork, the Nightlife Chevrolet. He is going to be taking on the Flying Texan, Steve Kane and Awesome Kong. And Army, earlier today in the pit area, a lot of activity because the Awesome Kong race team found something they had been looking for.
Yeah, in all actuality, they found out they've only been running on like half or quarter throttle since January.
One more adjustment. Wait. Try it. All right, that looks good. A lot better.
Now, exactly what are they doing there, Army?
What it was, the previous driver had a stop in there, Richard. They weren't aware of it, and it just wouldn't let. It's like it was flooring out before they wanted it to. They found, I would say, they found another 700 horsepower. Look at this. It's showing Steve Kane got him some horsepower, some muscle out of Texas. Puts that kid from Nebraska on the trailer.
So the Flying Texan, Steve Kane, advances. And Army, why did it take them so long to find the problem?
You know, they found him by pure accident. They were just looking around, and Steve said, wait a minute, the throttle's not going all the way down.
So as these trucks get faster and faster week in and week out, safety is a priority with TNT Motorsports, as Army explains in this feature on Power Tracks.
Before every event, a monster truck must go through safety inspection. Now, the man responsible for the safety inspection is out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, Mr. Mike Speller. Mike, what exactly do you look for when you're inspecting these vehicles?
Well, Army, there's a series of about 50 items that pertain to safety that we check every time we look at a monster truck. Several of the most important items are like how the roll cage is fastened to the frame. If the truck was to roll over, is it fastened properly to the frame so that the cage does not collapse?
What do you look for on drive shaft loops? Either they have a loop or they don't.
Well, first of all, they need to be a 1/4 of an inch thick, and anything over 24 inches needs 2 drive shaft loops. And I visually grab them and shake them, make sure that they are fastened tight and that they would hold the drive shaft if it was to come out.
Now, really, there's 3 kill switches on these monster trucks. Can you explain those to us?
Well, first of all, the driver's got control of his truck with basically 2 kill switches, one for the fuel and one for electric. And then there's a kill switch on the back of the truck that you could run over and pull and kill it, truck completely. And also, the driver has what we call a killer box in this truck, and I have what is called a killer in my hand. I can remotely kill his truck from basically miles away if needed to happen.
Okay, before each event, each truck is inspected. How do you know that each truck has been looked at and passes safety inspection?
We have a competition sticker that's on the side of the truck, And I sign off on that truck at each event. And then if that truck goes to another event where one of our other TNT tech men are working, he can look at that and see that it was okay at my event. And if there's anything that could be slightly wrong with the truck, we also make a note of it on there so that when he gets to the next event, it is fixed properly for the next show.
Well, there is definitely a bad moon rising over Weedsport, New York. Straight ahead, Army, the quarterfinals.
Hey, Richard, get this. We just received word. You see the moon now, you're going to see 2 red lights. A Gravedigger stays alive in competition in New York.
We'll have that story and all the racing action straight ahead on Power Tracks and ESPN. Welcome back to the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Hi, everyone. I'm Richard Leake, along with Army Armstrong. And Army, the quarterfinals and our first matchup, your defending Renegades national champion, USA 1, Rod Litzow, against Bennett Clark and Clydesdale. On paper, no contest.
Well, no contest on paper, but we're not running on paper. We're running on hard dirt and overcards. Clark's going to run him hard, but it's almost eerie being around that USA 1 truck on this track. Look how far. Clark is not even in the photo frame when the finish comes up.
And I told you, no contest as Rod Litzow moves on. USA 1 is now advancing into the semifinals.
Notice he's back up in the truck. You have no ignition whatsoever. What's the problem?
Well, the starting side of our batteries, our main power just went. We got 2 sets of batteries. The AC side is still running, but when I hit that last bump, it threw the battery up, busting it loose. But earlier, because of the roll, we went and got more batteries. We were expecting this, so we're ready for it. So we'll get it back in the pit area and fix it.
See you in the next round.
Yep, thank you.
Real quick, other than that, we had in the opening, we talked about everybody coming after you. You still got the same confidence you've had for the last 3 weeks. Can you win this thing again tonight?
Oh, yeah. I'm holding 6s. The truck's running excellent. We'll be back right in here. I'm going to go all the way.
I like his confidence. Rod Litzow, the USA 1, is in the semifinals. Coming up next, Army, here's the story we were talking about. Bigfoot and Andy Brass gets a rematch against the Gravedigger and Dennis Anderson, but wait a minute, Gravedigger was broken down.
Yeah, he broke in a previous round, but he's going to come back. The only reason, do not look for a hard run here, and I'll tell you why. He only has front-wheel drive. All he's trying to do right now is get points.
And all he's trying to do is keep that truck together. Recently in Watertown, New York, Dennis Anderson tore the Gravedigger all to pieces. And Army, you talked to Dennis about that earlier this afternoon.
Well, right now we're standing with the tired, dirty, worn out, long way from home, Dennis Anderson. Dennis, you and the Gravedigger, the last time we saw you, it was spectacular. About 60 feet in the air, 80 mile an hour. Things looked great, and then you landed. What happened?
Well, really, Army, what I done is I landed in the shop. I busted a transfer case. I tore the whole drive line out. And what I done is I took off with this new motor, and I didn't think the motor was going to run that hard. It really surprised me. I got more air than I've ever gotten in a monster truck before, and it was, like you said, it was spectacular. I saw a video of it, a replay, and it was a wild ride. It didn't seem that wild when I was inside, but after I saw it on film and saw parts flying, it was wild.
How did you get the truck back together? Because the incident happened a couple of 100 miles away from here. You're on tour, a long way from home. How did you pull it back together so quick?
Well, what I done is I dug in my little black phone book, called up all my buddies that I get parts from, and I had some parts flown in. I had a transfer case flown in. It got here like 10 o'clock at night, and we thrashed on the truck all night long. I had new drive shafts made, new safety loops and stuff like that, and we just thrashed on the truck, and we're here to do it again.
You know, Army, some of the guys on the circuit are nicknaming Dennis One-Run Dennis Anderson.
Yeah, but oh, what a run.
Yeah.
You're going to see when the Gravedigger goes out.
Well, don't expect a competitive race, but Dennis Anderson is out there in the Gravedigger against Andy Brass and Bigfoot.
Brass is going to move on to the next round, but he's not cutting the Gravedigger any slack, is he, Richard Lee?
No, but I'll tell you something. As Andy Brass advances to the semifinals and finally, here comes the Gravedigger across the finish line. These trucks are still getting sideways at the finish line, Army.
Yeah, that's a spooky situation they've got there. Well, Anderson, he's going to smile and say, well, at least the T-shirt sales will be up tonight after a run like that.
Get ready to find out who else goes to the semifinals. Carolina Crusher, Gary Porter. Remember, he's your current national points leader on the Renegade circuit. He is taking on John Kwasniewski, Buffalo Trimmer. John is coming back. He was a quick loser in the first round.
Well, Gary Porter is doing, like we said earlier, exactly what he has to do. He's keeping a real low profile, but he keeps moving to the next round of elimination. that's what he has to do for the rest of the year, because believe me, USA 1 is closing in on him like a fast-moving freight.
So 27-year-old Gary Porter makes it to the semifinals, but he also got a little crooked at the finish line.
Now, Gary, everybody keeps looking at you on the landings. I've been watching it from the end of the track, and everybody's landing crooked, but that's not because the cars. You guys are launching crooked out there is what it looks like to me, and especially on that left side.
Right, we are. I know I am getting a little bit crooked between the two sets of cars, and I'm not hitting the second set exactly square, and I'm sort of throwing my truck up on one side.
How come everybody's going to the same side? Everybody's landing heavy on the right.
Well, I don't know what the Rams, they aren't exactly even. You know, it's higher on the right side, and it's throwing us up.
And now we're going to find out who is going to be our last semifinalist. It'll either be Awesome Kong Steve Kane or John Moore No Problem, a big old fat Ford against a little bitty skinny Chevy.
Well, I'm going to have to look at the Chevrolet on this one just for the reason he has found so much horsepower. But John Moore, he's not going to let anybody rattle him. He's going to make this kid out of Texas work for it. Now, the Texas Chevy comes out real strong.
Well, he had to work for it, but he didn't work too hard.
No, but yeah, like I say, Moore kept the pressure on. That's all he can do, really.
So we have got our semifinals set up. It'll be Awesome Kong against Carolina Crusher and USA 1 against Bigfoot. All the action straight ahead on ESPN.
Power Tracks and the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge is brought to you by TNT Motorsports, the nation's leader in pulling and monster truck racing.
We are back in Weedsport, New York. The Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge. It is semifinal time. And Army, the 4 trucks we thought would be in the semifinals are here.
Well, it seems like at this point in time in the season, the cream comes to the top. Looky here. Representing Chevrolet, Litzow. Representing Ford, Brass, bragging rights, points. It's all laying on the table right now. Neither one wants to call his boss and say the other one beat me tonight in New York. Who's going to be the winner? We're going to find out right now, Richard Lee.
A good start as they come down the line. It's USA 1 blowing him away.
USA 1 just dominated that race. Dominated. Look at that.
I have never seen Bigfoot get beaten that bad, but Rod Litzow and USA 1 has just done it.
Can you make it 4 in a row? Simple as that.
Yeah, I think I can. All I got to do is make sure you keep those batteries holding. I hit that first rebound there, and it throws my batteries out. Because we're just trying to rig it up just to make it through here. And I coasted through that one. I was lucky to get that one.
What's the problem with the battery?
Well, the bouncing and the abuse that they take, but it's really important that you run them because as soon as the battery fails, with the power run in the ignition system, it just like shuts the system right down, and I don't have nothing out there. It just like shut down, and I don't lose my steering and everything. So it is a real important part.
Now, who is going to race Rod Litzow for the championship to determine the baddest of all beasts in Weedsport? Gary Porter, Carolina Crusher, the Chevy, the big Chevy, or Steve Kane, Awesome Kong, the skinny Chevy?
Pressure's going to go on Porter. He must advance to stay in the point chase to keep Litzow away from him. He's got to get past the Awesome Kong.
Good start.
Good even rate. Kong's down at the half track now. The Carolina Crusher comes. Kong's in trouble. The Crusher goes to the final, but the big story may be Kong went dead in the water on the last jump.
Awesome Kong's engine has died. Gary Porter, Carolina Crusher, gets the win. He is in the championship.
Well, Gary, you're not going to hurt yourself at all. You can really help yourself here. What we're talking about, you being the national points leader, this guy's coming on like a fast-moving freight, but he's not going to be able to pull out a whole lot if he beats you, but you seem to think you can handle him tonight.
Yes, I think I can. I've run both lanes now, and I think I got the hang of them pretty good, and I'm going to have to drive the truck, as hard as I can to take the win, but I think I can.
This is a night where one of you make a mistake, that's the guy that's going to lose, isn't it?
It is. Whichever guy makes a mistake is going to lose, and it's going to really help the other guy out a whole lot.
So it's going to be a Heartbeat of America Chevrolet final. USA 1, Rod Litzow against Carolina Crusher and Gary Porter. Both of them great big old Chevrolets, big expensive Chevrolets. And that's the subject matter of our question of the week. The question of the week about the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge comes to us from Jamie Lynn of New Albany, Indiana. And Jamie wants to know, how much does a monster truck cost? Well, Jamie, I have with me John Breen. John is a driver of Mad Dog, and he's one half of the Breen Boys Racing Toys operation. And how about it, John? What's a monster truck cost?
Well, just a little truck, you might get $50,000 in it, and some guys have up to $200,000 in their truck. And, of course, that is the truck alone. What about total expenses, your haulers and so forth?
Well, like a hauler, you might have $25,000 up to $200,000 in those.
Now, you say maybe $50,000 in a monster truck up to $200,000. What's some of the cost involved in there?
Well, like a motor, some guys might run a $5,000 motor, and some guys run $25,000 motors.
And, of course, tires and paint jobs.
Yeah, tires anywhere from $500 to $2,500 piece, and you might spend $1,000 on paint, $10,000.
Now, you've got one of the sharper trucks on the tour, the Mad Dog. Exactly how much do you have involved in there?
We've got about $80,000 in this one truck right here.
Well, you know, the old saying is the difference between men and boys is the price of their toys. I don't think these guys are boys. And if you have a question of the week about the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge, send it to us at TNT Motorsports, 5515 Poplar Park Boulevard, Louisville, Kentucky, 40228. And if we use one of your questions on a future ESPN broadcast, we'll send you free a TNT Motorsports hat. Oh, Army, I got a question for you. Would you mind lending me about $80,000? I'd like to get one of these.
No, I'm going to stay on this side of this sport, believe me. I can afford that.
Get this. We've got a real story going in the pit area. Carolina Crusher is already at the starting line for his race, waiting on USA 1. They put the stopwatch on him. He had 5 minutes to get there. They are under a minute to go, and they're not at the line yet.
You can see Steve Wilkie. He's thrashing, trying to get the truck on. It's an electrical problem. He says, okay, it's lit. Take it to the line. Light that rocket one last time. The drama's building. The people in Weedsport, they are on their feet. They're ready, but Porter sits patiently waiting.
He is down to 30 seconds to get to that line. If he doesn't get there, he's disqualified. Just because the motor's running doesn't mean he can run. He is now coming to the line. The crowd is shouting, go, go, go for Lindsau. And he has made it to the line.
Oh,
Lindsau made it.
You talk about drama. Richard Leak, we got it in New York. Right now, they back up side by side. Your national points leader in the yellow truck out of Carolina going up against USA 1. Can he be the first ever to make it 4 in a row? We're going to find out now. We're coming to you for the call.
And a great setup. The former national champion, the defending national champion, Rod Lindsau against the current national points leader. It is Chevrolet against Chevrolet. Gary Porter now inching up to the start line. A little psychology perhaps on his part.
Porter wants the USA 1 team to think about the electrical problems they're having. And you'll remember, USA 1 lost electrical power when he was running Bigfoot. Will it happen again? We're going to find out. A good lead by both trucks. Lindsau starts to move out the right lane. Richard, for the first time ever, a 4-in-a-row win.
Rod Lindsau, USA 1 gets the championship. That is Steve Wilkie, his crew chief, going, way to go, Rodney, as they are surging toward winning their second overall national championship.
Look at the crowd, Richard.
Rod Lindsau acknowledging the thousands in Weedsport as we're going trackside with the winner.
Well, Rod, let me be the first to congratulate you on doing something nobody's done. That's 4 in a row, and it looks like you're on your way now.
Yeah, everything's feeling good, you know. We pushed it to the limit on that one, but, you know, we work hard, and that's what pays off. When you work hard, you come out to the race, and we win, and it's what it all is about.
Well, it got down to the last 15 seconds. They were getting ready to bring another truck in. What was the problem back in the pit area?
Well, with our batteries again, and what we did is we combined, we usually run 4 batteries. We went back down to 2 batteries, and we tried jumping across, which wasn't enough power to run this. So we had to jump, and once it's fired, I got the power to run it, so it worked out.
2 years in a row, national champion. It's a possibility now. A month ago, a lot of people had you down and out, but you're working your way back. Can you do it?
Well, that's why, you know, they pay me to come out and race. I'm going to win every one. They keep the truck going. It's going great. I'm planning on taking it again.
Well, as we see a replay here, Rod Lindsau, crippled, broken, but he is racing in the finals, and as they come across these junk cars, he really shows the power right there. Rod Lindsau gets the win. So Rod Lindsau in USA 1 has won for an unprecedented 4th time in a row. So he is definitely on his way back, trying to repeat what happened in 1988 as he won the national championship. But he's got a long way to go to catch Carolina Crusher. For Army Armstrong, I'm Richard Leak. We'll see you again on the tracks across America.